レクイエム。
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Sho back with another video, and today talking about are old anime games overrated. Honestly, if I'm being honest, just from the start of this video, I don't think they're necessarily overrated, but you know, at the end of the day, it could be my bias. I think that a lot of games, like the love for a lot of games, comes on bias, and I think that's honestly, it's a decent way to look at things. Because when you're looking at a game that you feel like it was great, it would definitely be a game that you love, a game that you're biased about. But that doesn't disregard the fact that some of the games might be overrated. Like, if you just happen to love Ultimate Tenkaichi, it's automatically overrated. I mean, it's a terrible game. It shouldn't be loved. But let's be honest, man. Like, I can't sit here and say that I view Budokai 3 as being an overrated, overhyped game, because I loved it, you know? And it's generally hard for me to say any of these games on this list makes any difference. I still love Budokai, I still love Tenkaichi, you know, but they can get quite overrated because we do have, to me, the best Dragon Ball Z game of all time, which is Xenoverse, in my humble opinion. I mean, what else can you add? You know, you have so many different characters, you have so many different choices with creating your character. I think it's the best overall. I've talked about it in my top 5 Dragon Ball Z video. I think generally has the best, has the more amount of content, has all the characters, has a similar fighting style, but more refined to Tenkaichi. So honestly, I do think Xenoverse 2 should be done and should be moving on to Xenoverse 3, but I will admit that Xenoverse is blowing Tenkaichi games out the water. Now, don't get me wrong, I still love Tenkaichi games. I probably prefer them as my favorite game, just from looking through the nostalgia glasses over something like Xenoverse. Tenkaichi 2 had a great story. I don't even remember Tenkaichi 1 that much. Tenkaichi 2 had like the best story and the best gameplay mechanics from my standpoint. Tenkaichi 3 had all the characters. You know, it was basically what Xenoverse is now. Like, it has all your characters that you could ever want. And I think that's the magic of Xenoverse 3. Then we go to somewhere like Budokai 2 and Budokai 3. People did not like Budokai 2 at all. I love Budokai 2. I felt like it was an underrated game by many standards. I feel like they really wanted to do something different. Everybody kept saying they got tired of the same old story. So what did he do to change that? You know, they made it a board game. They made it basically like a Monopoly type thing. I do think it could have been implemented a little bit better, but all in all, I don't see it as being a bad thing. Trying to switch up the formula, trying to switch up the meta. You know, stop giving us the same story about Raditz and you know, going straight from Raditz to Boo and stuff. They try to switch it up, which is something that Xenoverse really did do. They took the same story that Dragon Ball Z had and they remade it, made it more interesting, made it so that you come into the story as a viewer and as a different person, you know, adding different elements to the different story missions, if I'm being honest. Like, you came in as a third wheel and just kind of changed stuff depending on your outcome, your actions. So I do enjoy that, you know. Their premise was really good. And the reason I keep bringing up Xenoverse is because, like I said, Xenoverse, talking about Dragon Ball Z games, Xenoverse is probably the best one in terms of how they fixed a lot of issues. Even if we wanted to go on the technical side of things and talk about fighters, you know, fighters is in itself is a attempt to create a more balanced version of games like Budokai 2. The only thing that's kind of different is that it obviously is based only on fighting. It is a fighting game, and it felt like a lot of the games from back in the day weren't really just fighting games. You know, there were interesting ways to kind of play through the story of Dragon Ball Z. But the main point of fighters is to just fight. You know, to try to be better than your opponent. That's like the main thing. Thus, even though it has a story mode, it's not really focused around it. That's just why I don't really bring it up when I'm comparing the old Dragon Ball Z games to new ones. The reason why I use Xenoverse is generally because Xenoverse is made for that. It's a combo of fighting and storytelling. It's not the greatest storytelling, but you know, it's Dragon Ball Z. It works with what it's got. Now there's another game that's a new game that we got to talk about. It's Kakarot. Now Kakarot is a fire game. Like, this game is probably something that should have been released a long time ago. And you know, if it, at least for me, at least if it had been released at that time, it probably would have been my favorite game in all of anime. But after playing through different Xenoverse games, different Budokai games, Tenkaichi games, Ultimate Battle 22 for that matter, like, after playing through all of them, I honestly, my excitement for this game came in waves, came in pieces. You know, me originally playing it, I really enjoyed it. I felt like it was a good game. I stopped around the ShoSaga, and it took me a minute to actually start coming back to play the game because I just found myself, you know, following the same issues with the Majin Buu saga. You know, basically you would just get to the end of the Majin Buu saga and that would be it. I always felt like GT was an interesting part of Dragon Ball Z. If not the best, it was also different because a lot of games didn't have it. When they had GT in the game, it excited me. And that goes for a lot of the older games. Because I switched to, you know, a little bit of older game right now. Like games like Budokai 3 and Infinite World, which I believe did have the GT characters. They shocked me. Because GT was supposed to be like this thing that was non-canon. It had a lot of cool forms, a lot of cool older versions of the characters that you loved. But it was not canon, so it really had no purpose. It really had no point of being in the game. That's what I would always love, games that actually went beyond that and actually added GT. You know, they said, hey, we need more characters, we're gonna add GT, and GT became a big part of those old anime games, if I'm being honest. And I love that because as a, you know, avid watcher of the show, I didn't see a lot of GT. I thought I heard it was non-canon and trash. I didn't really care about it too much. That is one of the simple things I feel like Kakarot misses. Obviously, it's supposed to be a version of going through the story of Goku's canon storyline, but I do think there could have been things worked on with GT. And who am I to say there could be a whole different game coming out with GT actions in it, because we still haven't got a sequel to Kakarot. We definitely need a sequel to Kakarot. But that being said, guys, let me know. Which do you prefer, the old anime games or the new ones? And when I'm talking anime games, I'm referring to Dragon Ball Z. I know I've kind of made it broad, but I'm specifically talking about Dragon Ball Z in this video. With that being said, guys, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video.